G'day YouTube, today we'll be fixing a little bit of gel coat to the front of this fiberglass boat. It was damaged when it was driven onto the trailer, so I'll run you through the steps, step by step, what we do to repair that gel coat. So here you can see the damage to the front of the boat, and I'll step you through what I'll do to repair that damage. Okay, what you're going to need for this repair is a rag, some trays, plastic trays or plastic lids of containers, some tongue depressors which you can use for mixing, that's the hardener. I'm using the Sepatone glass fiber filler, which is basically fiberglass with just a bit of thickening agent in it. You're going to need some acetone and some gloves. You don't have to use the gloves, but you know, keep your hands clean. And I've just got some piece of 80 grit sandpaper just to rough the surface up so that anything that we're putting on the surface has got a good scratched up surface to join with. So they're the basic materials that you're going to need. First of all, we're going to get the sandpaper. I'm going to rough up the edges, take off any sharp edges or anything like that. Just rough up the whole area so that it's got a good surface to bond to. Then we're going to use the rag and the acetone, give it all a bit of a wipe, get rid of any dust, and just, you know, let that dry off so that it's ready then for the filler. And we'll mix up the filler with the hardener, which is, we only need a tiny little bit for this job. Probably the ratio that you use is like a pea to the size of a tennis ball. Okay, this is step one. We're just gonna take off all of those rough edges, rough up anything underneath, make sure it's all I'll just drop that roller. some acetone. Okay, so see there's not much of this filler left. It was only used last season, so still should be alright. And see it's a bit oily at the top, and just mix that in. But yeah, it's, I don't know whether you can see in there, you see the fibres in it. We don't need a lot for this repair, but this stuff's way tough. So it's basically just like pre-mixed fiberglass resin and chopped strand. The times I've used it before, it's really strong. So I might only need to mix a little bit at a time. We're just going to get a bit of a, I'm just doing a bit of a mix here with the end of the screwdriver. Get those oils back into it. Well, it's not really oil, it's a resin. Stops it from drying out. Alright. Just get that off there. You can see the fibres in it. The little fibres. So when that dries, it's like concrete reinforcing. You know, concrete is pretty strong without the reinforcing in it. When it's got reinforcing in it, it's even stronger. That's actually probably more than what we need. So we've got the filler, the resin. That's exactly how it comes out of the can. Oops, where's the can? There's the can. A little bit of advertising there for Septone, because it's actually quite a good product right now. This hardener hopefully is still okay. Try a little bit of the hardener in there. That should be well and truly enough. Oh, it's got a split. Okay. I'm going to do something about that later. Yeah, but the hardener is basically like a peroxide, exactly the same as what you have in fiberglass, except it has a thickener in it. And that's probably more than what we actually need for this amount, because it is a pea size to a tennis ball size, and we've got a lot less than a tennis ball there. So this will be a very have a lot of hardener in it, so it's there's a lot of the, hopefully the chemicals are alright still and they go off. But it's not cold today, so if it was cold I would say add a little bit more hardener. It's actually a nice day today. It's warming up, it's early morning still, so temperature dependent, and this should go off pretty quickly, so I'm going to have to quickly get over there and start putting this on. That's mixed in. Get a couple of spatulas. Let's get over there and get onto this. Hope you guys can see a little bit at least what I'm doing here. Unfortunately, because this stuff's going to go off very quickly, I've got to work it in pretty quick before this dries. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of working time. All I want to do is build it up a little bit, probably higher than it needs to be. Drop strand, and this makes it a little bit more tricky to work with. Hey, come on. And of course I don't want to put too much on there, because everything I put on that's too much has to be sanded off. Tidy that up in a minute. This other spot done. Alright, that's the basics. Way more than what I needed. Okay, let's try and give this some shape. Because this has got strands in it, it tends to pull along with the strands. So you've got to now, if I wasn't using a filler with glass strands in it, it won't be so itchy when you go to sand it, but because this has got strands in it, you want to wear a little bit of protection when you're sanding it. That's starting to go off now. Just want to tidy that up a little bit. Yeah, it's really Okay, so just having a bit of play with the gel coat, or Flowcoat as this one's called, because it's got a wax in it. They were just testing to see whether the Flowcoat will harden, and yes, it's hardening. So that means too that the actual two things, the Flowcoat's still okay, and the MEPK that I'm using to harden it is still okay. Although it's been sitting in this can for 3 years, so some of it has gone a bit crystallized, as you might be able to see in a minute when I take the lid off. As you can see in there, there's a bit of crystallization going on, which is fascinating. Not very helpful, because I don't really want any hard bits. I was going to spray it, which I've done every other time. I'll just grab some gloves. But this time I think I might give the roller a go. The gel coat goes on pretty thick, so you want at least, I don't know, probably a millimetre of gel coat for it to really harden, because if you put it on too thin, doesn't seem to be enough to get the heat into it that it needs to actually go off. So I like to do it about a millimetre at least. So you need, it's like, well, a good thick coat of paint pretty much. Well, this is resin, but same difference. Alright, so I'm just going to get this other stuff out the way, hopefully. Maybe it's hard. Yeah, it is hard. Right, well, maybe I can't get it out of the way. That's interesting. Anyway, why it's done that, I don't know. That's interesting. Just wanted to make a little bit of room. I can't really. Oh gosh, it really is hard. Look at that. It's made crystals. Alright, well, hopefully there's no hard bits. And I can just, I only need about 100 grams of it anyway, so I'm just going to try and scoop it out with this paint lid. And I'll be measuring out about 100 grams into the little scales here. So the percentage that you want, and this is already the right colour for the boat, because it's the same stuff that I used on the boat, and I matched it up before. Well, 3 years ago I matched it up. Get another tongue depressor. You probably can't see what I'm doing there very well. So we've got, so it's only going to be 1 mil of MEPK per 100 grams. So we're probably not going to use much more than a couple of 100 grams. Well, that's 100. Alright, so I might just add another 100 grams. So we'll do 200 grams. So I'll go back in for another scoop. Now with gel coat, I like to go a little bit heavier on the MEPK, but because it's a 30-degree day, and truly more than enough. Oh, I don't think we'll even use all of that, to be completely honest. Alright. I'll keep that in there. I know that's 220 grams. What I'm going to do with that, I'll stick it over there and put the lid back on this. Just use this to bang the lid back on a bit. Whatever's handy, right? Oh, I'm going to change my gloves again. I'm going to go and wipe down the area that I'm going to paint. I'm going to use this little roller here, and I'll be mixing in the MEPK with a little syringe, so I can measure the amount that I'm putting in. So we'll go back to it, and next we'll try and see how the roller works out. It might be a little bit rough, but you can rub it back anyway, so rub it back to polish it. Okay, so I gave it a go with the Flowcoat on the roller, which, as you can see, has gone hard sitting in the container here, and it's very hard stuff. Maybe I'll do a demonstration. We'll hit it with a hammer or something and just show you how hard that stuff is. But yeah, look, it was a bit sort of textured, more textured than I would like. So, which isn't a bad thing, but if you want it smooth, you can rub it back with some sandpaper. As you can see, the Repair. It's got a bit of a texture to it, which is all right. It's sealed up. It's good enough for the moment.